Hi, this is Charlie, one of the elders here at Remedy Church in Lodi, and I want to just take an opportunity to present to you a video that was put together on a Zoom call just this last week with Pastor Mark, Pastor John Ramey in Sacramento with Aslan Child Rescue, and Pastor John, an evangelist in India, in the city of Calcutta, one of the giant cities of India, a very important city. And we are going to talk a little bit about some of the challenges that are happening down there in India. You know, we are called in Matthew 28 to be disciple makers, right? To go and make disciples of all nations so that people can hear about the Word of God. And John is doing that. And when I heard about the challenges that India is having specifically because of the shutdown from coronavirus and the very specific pains that they're having from hunger, labor, all kinds of things that we can't really imagine here in the States because things are very different over there. It really touched my heart, and I knew that the word needed to get out, that we could, because of this relationship that happened in a bit of chance, but we know that nothing happens by chance with God. When I was traveling with John Ramey in India this last summer, I had an opportunity to sit down with Pastor John and hear his incredibly touching testimony about how he was encountered by the living God and it transformed his life. And now he ministers to the people of India, and by doing so, he's touching lives. But right now, he's got some challenges. And so I wanted to take an opportunity for our church and anyone watching this video to be able to support India. And it might just be one village, but I know that the ripple effects are going to go well beyond just John and his circle of influence down there, that God is going to use this in a big way. So please enjoy this video that we have produced for you. And at the end, there's going to be a call where you can have an opportunity to pray specifically, but also go to our website and have an opportunity to give. And that's what we're trying to do here, is to support the ministry down in India, because here at Remedy Church, we're concerned with missions. We want to make sure that not just missions in our town and our homes, but we also know that we're going to go across the world. So India is on the opposite side of the planet, but somehow God has created this relationship where I got to meet Pastor John. And so I want you to hear a little bit about his heart and have a face with a name. When you hear what's going on, I think it will be touching. So I hope you enjoy this video. Thank you.
Good evening and good morning.
Yeah, good evening and good morning.
It's good to have everyone. It's good to have everyone together again. I'm sitting with Pastor Charlie and some good friends of his and some new friends of mine as we just are talking about kingdom work and what's going on in the world. And I'll let Charlie give an introduction to John and others. But anyway, we're glad to be here. We're glad to have the opportunity. And as I said earlier, it's a gift for us to be able to participate with you and learn and grow and walk with you and support in any way we can. So Charlie, why don't you kind of tell us who we've got here?
Yeah, so we've got some friends of mine that I met when I was traveling in Thailand. And with Pastor John, he's on the call as well. But we have John, Sarah, and Sharon, who are coming to us from Calcutta, India. John and I actually was invited to go support in Thailand for some kingdom work as they were doing a gathering. And, I was at a really interesting place in life. I just left my job after 15 years and trying to figure out what's going on in my life. And so, I went with John and traveled, and it was a really good time. But, on the way back, we had an opportunity to meet with some friends that he supports in India. And it was really fun to have a chance to meet John, Sarah, and his daughter, and their daughter, Sharon. I had no idea that this relationship would extend beyond that time. And in fact, it has. And so, I'll introduce John, who I've again come to know over the last few years through some family and some other connections. But John has been a very important person to me, and I've learned a lot from just watching his life. And I'll let him do a little bit more introduction, but I really just wanted to take this opportunity to introduce my friends that that we've come to know to our our body, and let them kind of hear a little bit of what's going on the other side of the planet, so we can actually have faces with names as we look to support internationally. So, John, would you just kind of do a little bit of an introduction to yourself, and then how this all came to be?
Yeah, thanks, Charlie, and it's great to talk to you guys again and your fellowship down there in Lodi. And I had a few minutes with you last year, and I remember sitting there thinking very strongly that I should challenge you, and I did when I stood up and I said, "How many workers will you give to the Lord?" I don't know if you remember that, but I felt very strongly to say that, and then I think God has answered that question because He's led you to this family in Calcutta that you're seeing tonight, John and Sarah and their daughter Sharon, and Sharon's mother. We call her Mama. She's 3 times the preacher that John is. She's a great woman, and also Sarah's sister, Rebecca, and then other people that participate very strongly in the ministry. So I think that this is an answer to the challenge that I felt very strongly for your fellowship. How many workers will you give to the Lord? And now you have what's really the gold standard in kingdom work is finding, like when you're fishing and a lot of the fish you throw back for various reasons, but then you get a keeper. And this family is a keeper. And I thank God. I think it was, about 5 years ago, John, that we met?
Yes.
I was in India doing some trainings for an organization, and we went to Calcutta, and we were at the Agape House Ministry, and we did some trainings, and that's when I first met this family. And again, like I said, we felt a bonding spiritually, and it's only grown stronger.
Yeah.
The accountability has been excellent, and the way God has really provided for a lot that we've been able to do already. And so we thank God for this family and for the connection to your fellowship.
Excellent. That's good. John, I wanted to switch it over to you, John Dash, to have you share a little bit about how you came into into this position where you're serving your community. Talk to us a little bit about that and what's going on.
Yes, thank you for giving this opportunity. And yes, as Daddy John Rame has told, that it's a connection that God had brought us to bring us together to glorify His name. It's really a surprise call I got to reach Thailand to meet you and have spent some time. And you people make the fun. It's our honeymoon time. Yes, after 12 years of marriage, maybe, after 8 years of marriage, that was our honeymoon time. We never been to honeymoon. So anyway, it's a good opportunity. And yes, God has given a lot of responsibility. As I'm from a Hindu Brahmin family, I know the situation very well for a Hindu nation, how the people are struggling, what the way their life is. They're struggling a lot, and I know the background of Hinduism and all these things. So the first thing is that to save the souls. Without that, we have no peace, to catch the peace. And we are throwing some type of nets like medical camp and some of humanitarian programs and some things we do because it's quite difficult to push the direct gospel into this community. As the government have so many rules and so many things, we do not spread the gospel directly. So we make some bridge to reach the people. That's through medical help, through some free education center and something we do like that. And our motto is to transferring the love of God, transform the life of people, and touch to the world.
Mhm.
In this way, we are transfer the love of God to the community. We transform through the love of God. We transform the life of the people, and in this way, slowly, we touch to the community and touch to the world. This way, how we do the ministry here, how we share the gospel, and these are the things God has put burden. And my wife, she's a registered nurse, and she was working in hospital, and by grace of God, she is doing, when we started the medical camp and medical gospel camp, then God has called her, and through Aslan, we supported and do the ministry, and she is now full-time also in community. Every day we reach to the community, and through the health, through the help of some medicine, we teach the gospel every day, each day, and God is doing wonderful things, and our mission to read the gospel at any cost and save the soul at any cost. That's
So, from talking to John previously, it seems to me that there's a local church that he ministers at and people he ministers to, and it seems that there's a medical aspect to this where there's a medical outreach kind of help, and then it seems to us there's a community-based side. There's some feeding of people in the community, and there's some church planting going on, and now you talk about this network. So it really is a pretty multifaceted
Yes. Yes.
operation.
Yes, we've seen a lot of fruit, a lot of fellowships started and continuing that have come out of the medical camps. People are.
around. I'm interfering. Around this year, we have through the medical camp, we have established 7 house churches.
Wow.
And last year, we baptized around 69 baptisms were there last year in 2019.
That's amazing.
Medical and education, that's 2 things,
Right.
because if you want transformation in India, still there is lack of education in village, because myself and my wife, we travel used to the village, and city is okay, small city, Calcutta is a small city, but if we drive 10 miles to each direction, it's totally remote villages.
Yeah.
10 miles away from the city, but there is not good proper health system, not awareness at all. People drinking the pond water, and wash their cloth in that pond water, wash their utensil, isn't it? So it's a lot of awareness program we are doing. So as we are adding the value, and there is no education also. Medical camp, we have recently started some education, like a non-formal. It's not formal at all. We have not get the license to start a formal school, but God willing, we may be in village small school. We can put a kindergarten, and we are already planned with Daddy John. If God willing, if we establish small kindergarten and build the next generation, because the children are the emerging leader of the nation, and they are the future. So we can make it's take time. It's take time to reach to the children, and if we grown up well, maybe after 10 years we'll see the transformation. Not now, but after 10 years maybe we'll see the transformation in that village.
Yeah.
So adding value is the great idea to change this nation, to change the community, to change the slum. So that's what we are doing, adding the value and reaching the gospel. That's the important way, wonderful way to read the gospel here.
Yeah.
How is this current pandemic or the coronavirus, how's that uniquely impacting your community, and what kind of unique challenges do you have like at this time because of the virus and the restrictions on the people?
The thing is that very much fear because of the density of the population. You know, India is the second largest population of the world. And the density of India, the population density is very bad, very bad. Population density, everywhere you see the peoples. You less trees, less plant, and everywhere you will see the peoples are there. And another data is telling that India is the youngest, means according to the age group, India is the youngest country of the world. Maybe it's like that. Some data is saying that most of the youngsters are there. So, and they are not obeying at all the lockdown. They are not obeying at all the lockdown, and few village people, they are panic. Yesterday we got the news, government distributing few rice and few things in few shops, and people are crowded like anything. And people for 2 pounds, 2 kg of rice, they are fighting each other, and lot of crowds. They are not maintaining the social distance at all. So it's a fear, and government is failure to do the lockdown properly. Government is failure, completely failure. People are in panic. Yes, it suffer a lot, because Indian population, lot of people are farmer, and a lot of people are daily labor, and few people those who are salary based job. And the farmer, it's not the time of harvest. It's not the time of harvest. They are waiting for the harvest to sell. And the daily labor, what they do, every day they used to work whole day, and evening they get paid and buy the things for the tomorrow, for their family, for the basic needs. But now, as everything locked down, they have not stored anything at family. They have not that habituated to that, to store something for 1 week or 2 weeks. They are not altered. They have no fund for that. Every day they get paid and buy for the things tomorrow. And once the lockdown suddenly happened, it's a really pathetic for them. As in our fellowship, we are reaching to many villages, and Daddy John, he has been many times to our congregation, to the village, to the city, to the slums, and we have the peoples, those who are daily labor. Maximum, I think 90% of peoples whom we minister, they are the daily laborers.
Yeah.
And when I get the phone call, when I'm getting what you are doing, we have get some rice water and boil the rice, one bunch of rice, one hand of rice, boil and feed whole the family. And this really put burdens for this group of people. It's pathetic. So this is the challenging time to help them, and the way what we can, what the Aslan ministry helping us, and what we can, we are doing from the church. And yesterday we reached around 100 people with the Bag of Hope. God has put a name that's called Bag of Hope. They are hopeless, and in this way, what we can, we are helping with a Bag of Hope. Like it's got like $3 to $5 a bag, some rice, some potatoes, and all these things. This is the first challenge, and the second challenge for the network, where we are working all over India, from the network and beyond the network, where we are touching to the peoples. Many village missionaries, village evangelists, village pastors, what their lifestyle is, every Sunday, and they get the offering like rice, because all are farmers, most probably they are farmers, and they put some oil, some rice, some potatoes as offering, and that help the village pastor to run for another 1 week. As everything locked down, the church closed.
Yeah.
And people are worried to save for themselves. They are not coming to help the pastors. They are not allowing to come to the church. The church has been closed down, and few people are not coming out from the home, and people are worried about to save for themselves, not for the pastor. And missionaries, pastors, evangelists, those who are independent, not salary-based pastors, those who are especially the network where the people, those who are working with us, we are not giving any monthly salary, because we want them to build in faith. But this time, it's crisis time. Mm-hmm. Because everything closed down, how they can survive for another 1 month? Like 3 weeks already happened. They have no Sunday service at all. 2 weeks already gone. So now the things is really difficult for them. This is the second concern. And the third concern is that Indian peoples are not so much nutritious, especially the slum and village. They depend upon the rice, and one pulses, they boil it, it's called dal. In Indian language, they call rice and dal. So they mix up and have it. It's only carbohydrate, as my wife, we know that medically, it's only carbohydrate and starch. It have
no protein. Yeah.
So no protein and nutrients to fight against the virus. So they have not immunity power. So yesterday, by grace of God, we bought some multivitamin tablets of 100 packets,
Nice.
Yeah, yesterday my wife, by grace of God, we able to find in a store, because always in medical camp we bought a lot of medicine. So she has a good contact with that. So by grace of God, yesterday someone just gave us 100 packets, and we are planning slowly to arrange more to reach to the slum children, at least the children and old men and women, those who are high risk on this COVID-19. So we want to distribute this multivitamin to gain their immunity system a little more, that they can survive. So these three concerns now we are praying and we are helping how we can.
Good.
Yeah, just to sum up real quickly, the factors that are going to mean that when the virus breaks out in India, is going to be devastating.
Mm-hmm.
God forbid, but it's probably going to happen. So the population density is the highest in the world in the major cities of India.
Yeah.
Social distancing is not possible in a poor community-based society.
Yeah.
They eat from a common dish. They sleep in a common room. They live very close to their neighbors. They don't have savings to be able to buy food in advance, which means if they get money, they go to the market every day. They also have a very challenged respiratory system already because of the air pollution.
Yeah.
Air pollution in almost every major city in India. If you look at Google, next to Mexico City, Delhi is terrible, Calcutta is terrible, the major cities. So the people are already weak in their respiratory system. Also, the immune system is not strong because of their diet. And also, there's a lot of superstition. Some of it comes from the religion. Some of it comes from other things, like people are even following cows around. The cow is sacred to the Hindu, and they're collecting the urine of the cow in buckets. And if they, they think if they drink it, it will prevent the virus. So
few days before, on the roadside, someone selling the cow urine and cow dungs. If you will have it, you will protect from coronavirus.
Yeah.
So this type of superstition.
And then the medical care, if you don't have money, you're not going to have good medical care. And, you know, these are the factors that make India just very concerning. And it hasn't broken out yet as far as we know. But so we're still really praying. But I think being prepared to do what we can. Also, John has told me already there's exploitation happening.
John, I just want to thank you and Sarah and Sharon, of course, and Mama for being on the call briefly. And you know, I know Sarah, you are medically trained and have been asked to go work in the hospitals to support, correct? So that's another concern, and so yeah, we will be praying for you in that way for protection. But thank you for taking the time to help us understand a little bit more. You know, at least here at Remedy and Lodi, and John for the introduction. And again, I just know it is no mistake that we've had an opportunity to meet, and I'm just looking forward to the ways that we're going to be able to support you. And our hearts are just, more entwined and more together now than ever. The more that we get to know you, and I just want to continue that relationship and know that you're being supported from Lodi, California, on the other side of the planet. Our hearts are with you, and our prayers are with you.
Keep praying, and this is the time to be stand together in crisis. But I wish to be the fellowship to be continued, because as my wife, we work in the community, and we always talk prevention is better than cure. So it's the time of crisis, all are prepared to cure, but we are thinking about the prevention for futures.
Yes.
we are thinking about the children of the slums, because once we are very much concerned for the awareness program and for the education, because the lack of education, many villages are suffering.
Yes.
There is not many villages, so we are thinking about that, and we are just waiting. Let the COVID to be disappear in Jesus' name, and after that, I wish to be a great fellowship with Remedy and Pastor Mark and Charlie. We can do something great for God's kingdom.
Yeah, love it.
Yeah, I love it. Well, I can't say it any better myself. So I just want to thank you for that, John. That was a good way to wrap this up. But thank you for your time, everyone, for being on the call. And we look forward to putting this in front of our body and seeing what God does with it. So thank you, gentlemen. All right.
Thank you very much.
Take care.
Thanks.
Bye. Keep in touch.
All right.
Yes.
Bye.